We just watched the trailer for The Big Sick, probably one of the first movies about a medically induced coma that looks hilarious.
That's right, baby. It's time for movie trailer trash. Enjoy.
All right, everyone. Like Charlie just said, we watched the trailer for The Big Sick. I'm Bethany.
I'm Charlie.
And this is Movie Trailer Trash. So welcome.
How do you do?
Welcome if you're a, avid listener. Welcome if you're new. So let's talk about this movie.
That was kind of like a Broadway show tune, the start of a Broadway show tune.
Whatever. Sometimes I'm lyrical in the way I speak.
Welcome if you're loyal. Welcome if you're new.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's not exactly what I said, but we'll go with it.
But it fit better.
Okay. So anyway, so this movie is, like Charlie said, actually based on a story about a medically induced coma.
Well,
I mean, if you're going to simplify it, but it is actually based loosely on the main character, the actor who plays the main character. It's based on his life. So
Kumail Nanjiani.
Kumail.
I think it's Kumail
Nanjiani. No, I've heard him twice now in the theater at Alamo, and he says, "Hi, I'm Kumail Nanjiani."
I think it's Kumail.
Also, Kumail is a name. I've met Kumails before.
It's got an I in it.
Look, it is very possible it's Kumail. We'll look it up later, but I'm just telling you that I've heard of Kumails before. I've never heard of Kumails.
Maybe you've been hearing it wrong this whole time.
Maybe I just knew a Kumail. Anyway, the point is, so the idea of the trailer, it's based on his life. He is Pakistani, and his girlfriend in the trailer is white. And he clearly isn't telling his parents that because they're bringing over Pakistani women for him to meet. And it very much reminds me.
Or maybe he is telling him that.
Well, no, I think it's pretty clear that he's not, because he tells his friend or maybe his dad or somebody who he's related to, another Pakistani friend. He tells him, "I'm dating a white girl," and his friend gets all like, "A white girl?" Like he's all shocked. So I think that he's probably not telling his parents.
Takes place in Chicago, which is fun.
Yeah, that is fun. Well, I was going to say, it reminds me of Meet the Patels, which is actually a documentary.
Wow.
No. Okay. Listen, the whole concept, for those of you who haven't seen Meet the Patels, first of all, it's a great movie. It's a documentary, but it's funny and awesome. But it's about a man, and he is Indian, and he's trying to figure out what to do with his life because he had broken up with his long-term girlfriend who was white because he didn't know if it would work out. He was afraid to tell his parents about her. And so instead he allows his parents to set him up, basically because he's getting older and he's not sure where his life's going to lead him. And so he's like, I might as well try and let them set me up. They want to do it. So he does it, and he kind of documents the whole process. And so it's funny because this definitely reminds me of that, because he's dating a white girl, not telling his parents about her.
He also ends up with her, right?
Well, I mean, spoiler alert, but yeah,
he does.
It's still worth seeing.
That's not the
point at all. In fact, it's a really interesting look into the culture of, arranged marriages, because I think a lot of people in America who haven't experienced that don't really understand it. And it's a lot different than you might think.
Well, and I think that portion of,
of this movie?
No, that portion of this movie.
Yeah.
And, what that movie is all about and stuff.
You're saying this movie and that movie, and it's confusing. So the setup portion
when I point to the computer.
No, they can't see. So the setup portion of this Big Sick movie that we watched the trailer for, him being set up, you think is a smaller portion?
Well, yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Well,
yeah.
It definitely is. But I was going to say that problem probably happens often to people who have arranged marriage culture or whatever.
Yeah.
Who live in America and have been raised in America and stuff like that.
Exactly, because they go through they've been raised in American culture, and all their friends are dating, and they, it seems natural to them, but at the same time, their parents a lot of times have had arranged marriages, and, they think it's important to, maintain their culture. And so I think it is probably a fairly, common thing. I mean, clearly now there's probably going to be two very popular movies based on the concept.
Well, so yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what happens is they break up. He meets this girl who he falls in love with. They break up, and then she gets in some sort of accident or gets sick.
She gets an infection,
and they put her in a medically induced coma, and then
he realizes he's screwed up.
movie is him worrying because he obviously didn't want to break up with her in the first place, and
her family,
having to deal with her family,
who, the mom seems like she's upset. Like, I don't know why you're here. You broke up with my daughter. She's very cruel, it seems.
But I think that's going to take place just in that scene.
Probably. Well, I mean, yeah, because, if somebody's sick for a long time and he's sticking around, clearly, I think they're going to, Well, maybe not, though, because it does seem like Ray Romano, who is playing the girl's dad, it does seem like at some point him and Kumal are talking about love, and at some point he's, like, staring down his wife. I think that him and his wife might get in a little bit of a tiff also. Like, they might have problems. Because think about it. Anytime somebody's in the hospital for a long time, especially someone as close to you as your daughter, like, that puts a lot of stress on families anyway. So there's bound to be arguments and problems. And then, she might feel differently.
But I bet that she probably blames him for something.
Yeah, she might feel differently about
for something irrational. Well,
anyway, so it's an interesting concept, and it's cool that it's based on his life. The thing that sucks is, like, I've talked to some people who are like, oh, yeah, well, it's just based on his life, right? Because he blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, shut up. If it's based on his life and you know about his life, don't tell me about his life, because that is now a spoiler, because it's a movie.
I was going to spoil something for you.
Don't spoil it. Don't spoil it for me
it
or
wasn't going to
anybody
be a
else.
spoiler. It's just his life.
Don't spoil it. Because here's the thing. It is his life, but I'm not his friend. I don't know him personally. I've not heard the story of his life, so I want to go see it. And I think it's cool that he's doing this. And I think it's interesting that he chose to make a movie, a fictional movie, based on his life. So it's like, there's a lot of stories that are like loosely based on.
Well, yeah,
I'm sure it's dramatized.
I read an interview that they were doing with him. I forgot who it was, but they asked him, like, what was it like to make this super personal movie of, like, probably the biggest moment of your life, and have you play yourself and, like, not the real person play the real person. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All the other characters are not the real people.
Right. And he was saying that it was for the better, because, like, he can kind of relive it again in a different way so that he reacts to it better than if just trying to remember what he did. Yeah, because
it would be hard. It would be really hard. Like, imagine if you and I were like, let's make a movie about our lives, and then we're trying to just replay our life out.
No one wants to see that movie.
Like, yeah, well, I could write a good movie about how we met.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
That people would want to see besides us?
Oh, yeah. But you know that everybody naturally makes a movie of their past in their head?
You mean memories?
No, but, like, people dramatize their memories. They remember the good stuff and not the bad, and they, like, romanticize their own memories. That's a thing that people do.
I feel like I remember the bad and not so much the good.
And that happens, too. But people, your memories are not perfect, so you kind of exaggerate and you play it out like a movie in your head, and in your own head you're the star of your own movie, and it's kind of the way it is.
Abs.
Oh my goodness, that's so weird. You can't have memories of having abs. You can't. This is just fantasy.
when we first met each other, I had these abs.
Nope. Okay. Well, Charlie's just in fantasy land over here. But no, okay. So you're right. It's interesting that it's loosely based on his life. He's playing the right his character, and then all the other characters are different. But I think it's interesting that he chose to do it this way, and then that the other guy who made Meet the Patels chose to do a documentary. And I think it's partly because his sister is a documentary maker and wanted to do it. But it's cool how we're gonna see different. I feel like.
Well, and because he didn't want to film himself and his girlfriend going through a coma and
well, yeah, obviously
that would have been,
but it is different. But I think it'll be really good, and I think it'll be really funny, and I think that's the thing that's interesting about the other movie, Meet the Patels, is how funny it is. Like, I wasn't expecting a documentary to be that funny, but when you're a funny guy, things are funny.
So the director of this movie.
Yes, let's focus on the big sick. No, it's okay. I keep going back to the other because I can't help but make connections in my head.
The director of this movie is Michael Showalter. Does that name ring a bell to you?
No.
It's he was the writer for Wet Hot American Summer.
Nice.
And the show Wet Hot American Summer.
Nice.
He was Coop. Do you remember who Coop was?
Nice, yeah.
Yeah, okay. He was Coop.
Coop is the guy who's super skinny in the movie and super big afterwards, and they just don't mention it.
And he's done a lot of, like, sketch comedy and stuff like that.
Funny.
A lot of writing. Has done some TV directing. Did one movie called Hello, My Name is Doris, and had Sally Field in it. I've never seen it or a trailer.
I've never heard of it. So wait, you said he was the director?
He was the writer of those things. But he also probably directed a little bit.
But is he directing this movie?
But he's directing this. And he was the writer with the other guy, the balding guy that was...
not following.
He was one of the...
In what, Hot American Summer?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't remember what he played in it, but yeah. So, and also, by the way, when I was looking that up, they're making another series where it's 10 years later.
Yeah, they should, because that was an excellent series on Netflix. If you haven't seen Wet Hot American Summer, the movie or the show, go for it.
Go watch.
Because I just started with the movie
and then
I heard
the
they were making a show.
Also,
yeah,
that's good too.
That's good too. I heard they were making a show, so I watched the original because I had never seen it. It was great. I watched the show and it was great too.
Yeah. And so that's
that
pretty
was
much
just a
it.
little aside.
He's done those things.
And so Kumail is the one who wrote it, though.
Kumail Nanjiani wrote it along with Emily V. Gordon, who is the girl in the
real girl
in the movie.
The girl. Okay.
Yeah.
The girl who gets in a coma in real life helped him write it.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah.
I think it'll be really interesting.
And then also it's produced by Judd Apatow.
Of course.
Who, I mean, he's made
he
a
loves
bunch
love,
of stuff.
Man.
Now, the thing about this is, like, I've always found it really interesting, and I've always wanted to know, because movies get, like, these big name executive producers a lot to, like, help them make their movie or whatever. And I always want to know which one, like, how involved they are in it. Because, like, in all the cast photos and stuff like that, Judd Apatow is there.
Yeah.
Like, with the
So he's
director
probably
and
pretty
writers and
involved.
cast crew and stuff.
But who knows?
I think it's probably just however they want to be involved.
Absolutely. One thing I wanted to say was Ray Romano, I think, is a good casting for this role as the girl in a coma's dad.
Yeah.
And I have loved him in recent years. Like, obviously, I am a huge fan of Everybody Loves Raymond because everybody loves Raymond. Maybe not, but I do. And, then I basically saw Everybody Loves Raymond.
I thought Everybody Loves Raymond when I was younger. And then it turns out that people, like, hate it.
No, people our age, I think, do. Because it's an old type of humor. It's an old sitcom humor.
But what the hell's wrong with you? Because that show is amazing.
I know. I had a friend, the friend, who was like, that looks stupid. And I was like, sit down right here. We're going to watch it. And she was like, this is an awesome show. I mean, she had to watch like 2 or 3 episodes to get into it. I'm like, give it a chance.
We had to watch a good 9 hours of it.
No. But anyway.
You really had to get the feeling.
I love Ray Romano. But I feel like after that show, he kind of was just like a caricature of himself and he didn't do a lot.
Well, he's a stand-up comedian.
Yeah, sure. But I don't really care about stand-up comedians.
Don't just say sure.
I cool if they have a career as a stand-up comedian, but I don't really care about them unless they're in TV shows or movies.
That's how you get a TV show.
Sure. But he already had a show. And what I'm saying is after the show, he became a caricature of himself. And
you mean you didn't like Welcome to Mooseheart or whatever?
No,
Moose Jaw?
I think as a kid I did.
With Gene Hackman?
But yeah, like he just seemed silly. Well, he was in the show. Okay. He was in the show Parenthood, which is a drama. It's a pretty dramatic show. And he was phenomenal. And he wasn't playing himself. He was playing somebody else and he did a good job.
Did you like my Romano impression?
Do it again. Bra.
Oh.
That's mine. What's he say? What's he say Deborah's name for? He just says, Deborah.
I can't do any
I don't know.
I can do him growling.
Well,
I can't do
anyway.
any actual words.
The point is, I think that this will be a good role for him. Okay. I think this will be a good role for him. Clearly, neither of us are good at imitating him, but it looks funny. It looks right up his alley. Like, it's a dramedy, I think. It's a bit of a dramedy.
Yeah, he looks like he does a really good job at it. I mean, he does a good job. I love that last little scene in the trailer.
Okay, which is...
where he says that thing about love.
Yeah,
because I've always hated that so much.
When people say stuff like that?
When people say...
And
so, like, say the line.
Doesn't make any sense. So he's like, love isn't easy, let me tell you. That's why they call it love. And then Kumail Nanjiani's just like, that doesn't really make any sense to me. And he's like, yeah, I don't know. I just started talking. I thought it'd sound good.
Because there's people that do that. Like, there's people who legitimately do that and think that it's, like, poetic.
You're like,
and
well,
it's like,
no,
no, that's just a word that they assign to it.
Life's difficult. That's why they call it life.
That's why they call it life.
No,
you're an idiot.
Life is just a word that describes time from your birth to your death.
And he's so good at at delivering
the timing
it.
was really good.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna be good throughout the whole thing.
And also, one of my favorite parts from the trailer is he awkwardly tells Kamal that he asks him about 9/11. He says, "So 9/11," and he just kind of looks at Ray Romano like, "What?" And he's like, "I've always wanted to talk to people about it," because he realizes immediately like you're being extremely offensive and racist right now. And so then Kamal says, "You've never talked to people about 9/11?" And it's so funny because it's just he just calls him out on his bullshit, like immediately makes him feel like an idiot, even though he clearly already felt like an idiot because he was being an idiot. So that's my take. But I mean,
that's my take,
I
idiot.
think there's going to be a lot of little funny parts like that. The thing about this trailer is I saw it like 2 or 3 times before I ever saw the trailer in theater. Now I've seen it twice in theater, and every time I see this trailer, it's almost like I'm good. I've seen enough. It was enjoyable. It's like watching a miniature movie, just sitting down and watching the trailer.
Oh, really?
For me, yeah.
Like in a bad way or
in a good way? Like it doesn't give it all away, but it gives me enough that I feel happy afterwards. Like, oh, that was a cool story.
I mean, there's really
even
nothing
though I don't know how it is
to give away,
Well, yeah.
I mean,
it's just a story about what happened to him, but I
don't think that the thing is going to be.
I don't think it's going to be a big shocker or anything.
Is she going to wake up? Is she not going to wake up? Type of stuff.
Obviously, because she's awake, but
well,
because
yeah.
she helped write it. But yeah, I mean,
well, yeah, but it's a movie. It could be based on a true story.
Yeah,
anything can happen.
The point is, the trailer is so enjoyable that I would be shocked if this movie wasn't good.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
It looks great. I mean,
like,
I think it's going to be great.
I literally, if I was bored, sometimes I'll look up, YouTube videos if I'm bored or something that has been on the late night show. This is one of those things where I would just like look up that trailer just to watch it again because I love that trailer.
Well, let's move on to where, when, and how you're going to see it because I got some thoughts.
Oh, okay. Let's do it.
Where? When? How?
Are you gonna see this movie? All right, where, when, and how you're gonna see this movie. First of all, this movie comes out on July 14th of this year.
What?
So
I was told it came out end of June.
In a little over a month from now.
I went to Movie Phone today.
Welcome to Movie Phone.
Movie Phone still exists online apparently, and it said it was coming out end of June. Is that maybe when the premiere is? Maybe. Like maybe the red carpet premiere is in June, and
because it was at South by Southwest and Sundance and all of those different things.
That's so weird. Oh well, that makes me sad, but oh well.
It's just gonna be like an extra week.
I don't want to wait. Well, actually, the thing is, I was looking up movies that came out in June because my friend just had a birthday and she has a free ticket because of her birthday to Alamo, and nothing good is coming out, and she already made plans to see Wonder Woman somewhere else. I'm like, well, crap. So I was hoping this movie would come out because she has 30 days to see it after her birthday.
Tell her to go see Captain Underpants.
I did. But anyway,
The Mummy, man.
All right, so it seems like you have some ideas on where you want to see this.
Here's what I'm thinking, all right? And you're going to be very upset by this.
Oh, no.
I kind of want to rent it.
Okay.
Just because it's a romantic comedy. I don't care to have the
You're a hater
audience.
of romantic comedies.
No, I don't care to have
You're
the
a known
audience
hater.
input of romantic comedies.
Yeah, you're saying it's not going to like make it a better experience because
There's not
going to
be
theater.
Any sort of extravagant special effects and sound that needs to be portrayed.
But sometimes when it's a comedy, though, it's fun to hear everyone laughing around you. I really enjoyed that with Wonder Woman. Was like every time I wanted to laugh, I loved that everybody else was laughing too. I was like, we're all enjoying this together. Ha 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 ha. And it was fun. But I see what you're saying. In general, it's not like it's going to benefit a ton from the big screen. You could probably enjoy it on any screen.
And also, I think there's going to be a lot of stuff out. I mean,
yes,
it's going to be the
July,
middle of
and
July.
so that's another reason I'm disappointed. If it came out at the end of June, I would definitely go and see it because there's nothing in June.
However, I wouldn't be like upset if I saw it in the theater. I wouldn't be man, seeing this movie because it looks really, really good.
I absolutely agree with you,
especially for what it is. Because, like, I mean, if you keep it in its category of
it's probably going to be one of the better ones,
right? Exactly. And I've kind of noticed that what like better romantic comedies usually have some sort of crazy thing going on in them.
Well, yeah, because think about it. That's what I was going to say about this earlier is that if you have something this crazy happen to you like he did, you got to make a, and you're also a writer and a comedian, you got to make a movie about it, because rom-coms are generally very predictable and generally kind of trite. The writing it's been done before.
Because think about that one that we saw with John Cusack. What's that called, where he holds up the stereo?
Oh, that's a great movie. Yeah, Say Anything.
Say Anything?
It's a great movie.
The guy,
it's such a unique story.
Dad in that ends up being found guilty for embezzling funds from a retirement home, and in the last scene of the movie, they're saying goodbye to him while he's in prison.
Yeah.
It's like, what? I had no idea that was part of that movie.
The loser teenage boy that's dating his daughter that's going nowhere in life is like, peace, bro, and then they get on a plane and go to London together or whatever. Yeah. Well, yeah, so I think, yeah, you're right, because if it's just a story about two people falling in love, it can still be beautiful, it can still be funny, it can be great. But if there's more to it, it's going to be interesting, because there are a ton of stories. I mean, the thing is, it's been done before. Lots of people have made stories about people falling in love. So, like, you know, at least in The Notebook, like, if The Notebook didn't have the whole thing where he was... Just go with it.
Sorry,
if the Notebook
I'm making a face for all of you listeners out there.
If the Notebook didn't have the thing where they're old and he's trying to get her to remember because she's losing her memory, then it would not have been a good movie at all, probably. Because, I mean, look,
like it already is?
No. Like, look, I actually really like The Notebook, but I know it's not a quality movie. I think it has some really adorable scenes, but if that was it, if it was just a movie about two people falling in love over the summer as teenagers, it would be like, blah.
It's Grease.
You know? Yeah, it's Grease.
And
What's
Grease
the point?
Is terrible.
We've been there. We've done that.
Although, isn't something crazy happening in Greece?
What do you mean? No.
No?
Well, her friend's pregnant.
Yeah, some sort of like...
Her friend's pregnant.
Abortion discussion or something.
Her friend's pregnant and trying to deal with it, and then the main guy is trying to convince...
Johnny T.
Is trying to convince Sandy to sleep with him and smoke cigarettes and wear leather. And he does it, and he wins.
Way to go, John.
No, I'm not giving you a high five for that.
Wow, just going to leave me hanging.
Yeah. But okay.
Where are you going to see it?
Where am I going to see it? So
when?
I understand. I understand completely what you're saying. I think this movie is going to be good on any screen. It really depends on what's out in theater, but I think it would be really fun to see it in theater because it is a rom-com, and there's not very many good rom-coms anymore. And especially when I was younger, especially like 80s and 90s rom-coms, I love them. I love a classic rom-com, and it looks kind of like that. It looks like a fun rom-com.
The main reason for seeing this in theater is to give this guy money for making a good movie.
Yes, and that's absolutely true, but also I think the reason I would want to see it in theater is because I wouldn't want to wait. It really has nothing to do with wanting to see it on the big screen. I'm just like, I want to see it. It looks so good. I want to see it. I don't want to wait. And who knows how long it'll take to get to Netflix or streaming or whatever.
Well, actually, it's a Amazon Studios film.
Ooh, so maybe it will come out soon.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we'll have to see what happens. But
Amazon, man.
That's what I would say is when I would like to see it, you know, when it comes out in theater to support this man, because I think he's brilliant anyway. I've seen him in other stuff. He's a funny guy. And
we need to start watching more Silicon Valley. I think we'd like it.
Oh, is that what he does?
He's one of the main cast members of that.
Yeah. So I mean, but I think he's really funny. I think it's great to support you know, writers like him. So absolutely. But also you know, it would be fun. But I guess that's what I'm saying. Sorry. I guess that's what I'm saying is if I missed it, I wouldn't be disappointed. Just like if I took you to see it in the theater, you wouldn't be like, I don't really want to see this in the theater. It's the same thing. Whereas if we waited for it to come out on Amazon Prime, I wouldn't be like, oh, I wanted to see it in the theater. I would just be glad to see it. Whenever I see it, I'm going to be happy to see it.
Most likely what's going to happen is we're going to be like, oh, we should see that, we should see that, we should see that, we should see that, and then we'll miss it, and then we'll see it on something else, and we'll still enjoy it. Yeah, no matter what, I think when I watch it, I will be pleased. So let's move on to Rotten Tomatoes percentages. Zoom. Rotten Tomatoes percentages.
I'll start it out here.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So here's the thing. Rom-coms are difficult for just like any kind of niche, you know, any niche movie that's not a drama. Dramas get a lot higher scores from critics.
Well, that's because drama's not
apparently
really a niche.
I'm having trouble talking, but yeah, so like if it's a horror movie or a sci-fi movie, those little niches are going to be more difficult. They have to be really good in order to get good. That's kind of how I feel about rom-coms.
A sci-fi. or a horror.
Anyway, I think that this movie is going to get 83% from critics. And that's really high, I think, but I feel like it's just going to be a fun, solid movie. Like, I feel like it's going to be like when I watched the movie Chef, where I was just like,
oh, I love Chef.
Yeah, and it wasn't like there was...
But not really, though, because Chef is just constant happiness.
Well, no, but here's the thing, though. What I'm saying is there wasn't any big twists or turns. Like, it wasn't, like, shocking. There wasn't some big dramatic, moment in that movie. It was just a story. It was just like, here's a story that's fun and makes you feel good. And so, yeah, this one isn't going to be happy the whole time because she's in a coma. But I think it will definitely be happy in the end. And I think that I'll just watch it and be like, man, I feel good right now. And I think critics will see that too. And I know that critics liked Meet the Patels a lot. They liked Chef a lot. And I feel like this is very much like those movies. It's that kind of feel good, like interesting, unique story. So yeah, audience, let's say 77. I think the audience might not like it as much. I don't really have a good reason for that.
Check this out.
Okay.
Okay. Critics will give this a 94%.
That's fair too. I could see it going really high. I was being conservative.
They're going to give it a 94% because it's super unique. I'm sure it'll be super well written.
That's true.
Ray Romano will be doing a drama role. They love when comedians do drama roles.
That's true. They love that.
And
they do love indie movies. I forgot about that. This is an indie movie.
They like indie movies a lot, even though it's Judd Apatow produced and stuff like that.
But I mean, like you said, it was shown at
Amazon Studios.
It was shown at the festival circuit.
It was at the festivals, and I think that it was fairly
so they always love
well received there.
Well, like that movie that Viggo Mortensen was in recently that was at the festivals. That weird one where he homeschools the kids in the woods.
Captain Fantastic.
Yeah, that is what it's called, isn't it? I thought you were going to joke again. But yeah, that movie, like it looked interesting, but it didn't look great. And I think it got really amazing reviews from critics.
Yeah,
and I think it's like you said, they love festival movies.
I have no desire to see that one.
I feel like I could stumble upon it one weekend when I'm bored.
I feel like I could fall asleep to that on a Sunday
I feel
afternoon.
like Jacqueline and I, my sister and I, will stumble upon that one of these days.
But I also think that the audience will give it a 71%.
Oh, wow. So you went a big disparity there. What's the point in that?
I think that it's just a really well-made movie, and audience members who know Kumail Nanjiani will go in there expecting something else.
Something a little bit ridiculous? Because doesn't he do some kind of ridiculous humor too?
He's silly.
Yeah.
He's a silly guy.
He is silly. But it's going to be funny. No, I don't think people are going to be disappointed. I think the audience is going to like it.
I think you're going to see...
Maybe not as much as the critics, but I think the audience is going to be very happy.
Kumail Nanjiani cry during it, and I don't think Kumail Nanjiani fans will be expecting that.
But I don't think it'll matter, because that's the thing. Like, if you go in because you love a certain comedian and it's a good movie, who cares that they cried in it? If it's a good movie, like what are you expecting? Just like all of the people who go to see this movie are extremely macho men who are like really insecure about watching another man cry.
Mostly monster truck drivers.
I do not enjoy a movie where I have to see another man cry.
What is
that?
This?
Makes me uncomfortable.
What is this? The Notebooks?
Yeah, I don't think it'll be like that, but who knows?
But I also think that critics will give it over what it should get. Like, it'll probably be like an 80 something.
Because they're excited.
It'll probably be like 83. And they'll be like, it's a well-made movie.
Wait, now you're changing your tune?
No, I mean, I think that the quality of the movie, personally, will be an 83.
But you think they'll give it...
But I think critics will give it a 94. Because it's really well-made, it's unique, and also they love the diversity
I'm totally
thing.
fine with critics giving score a little... like kind of leaning to heavy on the good scores for independent films because... support them, man. Support them.
Support the small.
I always want to support a unique story. I mean, this might be the story of his life, and that's why it's unique, but it doesn't matter why it's unique.
That's how you get unique stories.
Tell me a good story, because I love superhero movies. I love Star Wars. But if those are the only good movies coming out and I don't get anything else, then I'm going to be sad, because I need the variety is the spice of life.
The saying, you can't...
I need variety.
You couldn't script this. That's how you get good scripts.
You're right. They script it. Got him. It's an enigma.
Ooh.
All right. Well, let me do a few plugs here before we go.
Okay, plug it up.
Thank you guys for listening. Please like us and follow us on social media. Movie Trailer Trash Podcast on Facebook, or at MTT Podcast on Twitter. Also, we recently put our website on the Squarespace platform.
Oh, yeah, we updated our site, everybody.
Yeah, so we updated it. We
looks great.
Switched over to Squarespace, not a sponsor yet. But we love Squarespace. It's really user-friendly.
Oh, wow.
And it's doing good for us.
Shameless.
I am shameless. But no, hey, every other podcast seems to be on there, so why not us?
How about that?
Just join it. Anyway, so check that out. It's new. It's fresh. It's mttpodcast.com.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Also, support us on Patreon. Just $1, and you can get a whole bunch of extra stuff. We just put up $1
here, $1.
We just put up an end of the month episode that was about something quotes,
movie quotes.
Yeah, we went through a bunch of really good movie quotes, some of our favorites that we could remember. That's how I phrased it.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff. So support us. Tell your friends about us, because the more listeners we have, the better it is for us, and the more we can continue to make fun, creative content.
And as always, subscribe to Entertainment Buffet's YouTube channel. Follow them on Twitter @EntertainBuffet.
And we will talk to you guys next week.
See you later, Trash Family.